Hi friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to the first reading wrap of the year. Think of this video as kind of like a FaceTime to catch up with your reading bestie, where she tells you every dramatic fanfiction that she's read in January and February, everything that she's reading now, and everything that she unfortunately did not finish in the past 2 months. I did not refer to myself as a third person there, but as I have shared with you guys in the beginning of the year, I started keeping track of every reading progress in this journal, so I'll be reading it off to you guys. And so let's get the video started, shall we? So the first story that I read this year is Wolf and Stray by Miko, and I cannot be any happier to start out the year with this story. We have an anime Draco story here, starting out at Hogwarts, where he needs an escape route, so he transforms himself into a little pet, hoping that any student would pick him up, bring him on the train so that he can escape Hogwarts without anybody knowing and without a trail. That student picking him up turned out to be Hermione Granger, and so we kind of can guess, how the story turned out from that point on. But this story is just so full of healing, second chances, of two people finding each other, two souls supporting and mending each other in the softest and in the most genuine way possible. I just love everything about this story. The writing is super smart and witty. It will make you laugh out loud, but at the same time, like the love, the moment, the detail shared between Draco and Hermione is so deep, it will make your heart melt into like a puddle. And the side character in this story, we're not talking about Draco and Hermione because they are just perfect, especially Hermione. I just love Hermione in this story. But the side character, we have like quality supporting character in this story. And if you want a side of not pot besides your Hermione main course, this story is the place to go. So I'm just completely in love with this story, and I may be very sentimental, but to this day I think that Wolf and Stray still hold my #1 spot for the year of 2023. So the second story that I finished this year is Belle on a Hill by H19. Now this is a story about Draco helping Hermione plan her wedding with Ron after Draco's wedding with Astoria failed to happen. Now this story is a rom-com little piece of work, full of love, full of coziness, so you don't have to worry about anything getting dark here. It just has a little bit, tiny bit of angst. And this story is also on the shorter side, so if you're looking for something short that you can finish in a couple days, or if you want to read something short in between your bigger pieces of work, I think this story is going to be perfect. Now I'm very biased when it comes to H19, so you don't have to worry about the quality of this fic here. The writing, the characterization, the plot line, the details, everything is amazing. But I don't really know how I feel about this story yet, because this story kind of like told the line of infidelity a little bit here, and that's like one of the tropes that I avoid reading when it comes to dramatic fanfiction. Kind of like a it's me not you type of situation, where I really enjoy the story and enjoy the talent of H19, but I just hope that Draco and Hermione would fall in love in a different circumstances here. But if everything that I described to you interests you in any way, you go ahead and give the story a go, because this is a H19 piece of work, so you don't have to worry about the quality and you will have a good time with this story. Now the next story that I finished this year also by H19, and that is Between Certifiable and Bliss. And now this story I don't really know how to summarize, so you guys just have to go ahead and read the synopsis. But what I can say is that this story has a very unique plot line, very original premise, so if that is what you're looking for right now, this story is going to be perfect. If you have read Remain Nameless by H19, if you fell in love with the story but you find that that story is a little bit too long for your taste, this story Between Certifiable and Bliss is going to be a perfect alternative, because you will get to experience the talent of H19 in full mode here. The writing, the characterization, the detail between Draco and Hermione are very well developed, very well written, just similar to Remain Nameless. But this story introduced a little bit of a mysterious, of thrilling element, so that you'll be more engaged with the story and you are given something to look forward to besides just a romance between Draco and Hermione. So you don't have to trade off anything here, and I really had a good time with this story. I really like Between Certifiable and Bliss, and I think that you will too, because this is a H19 piece of work and I do not have any complaint. And we're moving on to the next one, and that is The Bells Were Ringing Out by If You Were a Melody. This story, if I can give a 6 star, I would do so without any hesitation. This story is a one-shot, but it makes me feel amazing afterwards. This story is about Draco and Hermione unexpectedly going on a road trip together, and we kind of guess how the story turned out from that point on, but nothing prepared me for the detail discussed in this story, because it's just so perfect. Now this story made me feel so warm, it made me feel so cozy. Even though the story is about Christmas, it's like in the middle of a winter, and I also read in the middle of winter as well, but it just makes me feel so warm. It feels like the sun to me. It's so cozy. It's like being wrapped in a blanket. I feel amazing. And if those words that I have to say to you don't persuade you to go read this story, I don't know what will. Just make sure that you read this story before you go to bed. You already know me and my bedtime dramatic story, so this story is just to add to your list of things to read before you go to bed. So the next story I finished is also the last story that I read in January, and that is Season Pass to This Ass by Maybe Writing. This is one of the stories that I didn't expect to love, but I fell in love so hard with this story. This story is a Quidditch player Draco story with just two things, fluff and smooth. So if you want something that's just a super easy read, super fun read, you know, low stake romance between two adults, this story is going to be perfect for you. You get to experience the love between Draco and Hermione with a lot of hot spiciness on the side, and so I just had an amazing time with this story. And like I said, it's a low stake romance, it's an easy read for you to just, you know, swash out and have an amazing time with it. So now moving on to February, the first story that I read in February is Hermione Husband Checklist by Green Flower Pot. This story is a 6-star read for me. Amazing, have no words to describe it. But this story is about Draco and Hermione kind of getting roped into doing a mission together unexpectedly. But we have a pioneer middle named Draco in this story. So how would he navigate through all of the adventures with her is now we get to see the story. We have amazing supporting character in this story. Everyone is just so lovable. I love this story so much. It's just so fluffy, so cute, so warm, so cozy. It just feels like the sun. And especially since I read the story in the middle of winter, it's making me feel so good. Now the next story that I read is Boardwork by In Dreams, and this story is about Hermione unexpectedly running into Draco after he was presumed dead because he went missing in California of all places, at the Santa Monica Pier of all places. And so we get to see how Draco and Hermione kind of discover the other person. You know, after everything that has happened between them, they didn't really know the other person, so they were given a chance to do so, and they were given a chance to fall in love with each other. If you want to save this story to read in the summer, I feel like it's a perfect summer read because it's all about the sun, it's all about California, the beach, surfing, all that kind of good stuff. But if you want to read it right now during the winter, I feel like it's gonna be perfect too, because it's just a perfect pick-me-up mood booster type of story. It will make you feel so amazing afterward that you have to check it out. Story that I finished also on my TBR list for the year, and that is Adrift by In Dream. Now this story is about Draco unexpectedly running into Hermione in the Muggle world, but Hermione doesn't even remember her own name. She has no memory about herself, no memory about magic and anyone else whatsoever. So they kind of like receive this second chance to strike up a newfound friendship, but then Draco is faced with this dilemma because while Hermione doesn't remember anything, he does about everything, you know, the war and school before that. So this story is all about Draco solving all of his life problem, and I said so in the most literal sense possible because my boy is suffering in this story. What I didn't expect about this story is for how bleak the story can get at some point, because I just feel like Draco cannot catch a break in this story. Problems just keep coming to him, and problems that sometimes are unsolvable. If you are looking for like a more realistic piece of work and a more realistic development between Draco and Hermione, I feel like this is gonna be perfect. While I didn't feel really strongly about this story, I recognize that this is an amazing piece of work, and I had a good time with the story. It was a good read, but I just didn't feel very strongly, very, you know, emotionally connect with this story, and I didn't go unhinged for this story is what I'm trying to say. But it's also a very good read, and if I would rate it 4.5 stars. So if that's what you are interested in, please go ahead and give this a go too. The next story is a very unexpected story, and that is Our Shared Silence by Wolf Stodum. And I have read a piece of work by this author before, and I fell so hard in love with it when I didn't expect to do so. Now this story once again is the same situation. I didn't expect to love this story, but I love it so much. I love it with all my whole heart. This story has a plot twist that you will never see coming, and if you want to just, you know, get your brain stimulated, get your heart challenged, this story is going to be perfect. It's a perfect balance between fluff and angst, and the love share between Draco and Hermione are just chef kiss. And this story is so engaging, you will not be able to put it down, and this only has 40,000 words. So if you start reading it tonight, you may not be able to get any sleep at all because you want to finish the story, and that's exactly how I feel about this story. This author has me in a chokehold, and the writing style that they do in all of their story are just, I have no complaint. I love this story. The next story is also a super fun story, and that is To Woo a Wolf by Junior Dreamer. And this story is in the format of letters. This story has literal letters in it. This story is a graphic novel, okay? And it caught me so much off guard that I was so invested in this story. So in this story, the authors use graphic and, you know, different cursive, different writing style for different characters, different paper stationery tools in order to like introduce their personality via the letters. And I had an amazing time with it. At first I found it a little bit hard to read because I was so used to reading, you know, the AO3 fonts for fanfiction. But as I start, you know, getting more and more into the story, I get more and more appreciative of the act from the author, because now we get to see, you know, all of these characters on paper and we can tell them apart from, you know, the letter. Not just Draco and Hermione, everybody's just amazing in here, and the storyline is just super simple, but at the same time it makes you feel so good. Amazing experience, just amazing. The next story that I read had some of us in the chokehold lately, okay, and that is My Friends Are Not Hero by Hypothetically. This is two shots. It gets so great, and it gets so great. I truly have no other word to describe this story. This is truly something that you just have to go out there and experience for yourself, because I am not able to summarize or review this story, because, you know, it's make me feel some kind of different emotions at the end. Usually I personally wouldn't go for a smoothie story, first of all, and secondly is I wouldn't go for morally gray characters. Those two things are included in this story, but it makes me feel so good afterward. It's like unlock a new type of emotion for me with dramatic fanfiction. So if the synopsis kind of interests you in any way, please go ahead and give this a go, because I feel like you'll fall in love with it if this is your thing. But make sure you know about all the text or the details before you start, okay, because it's not a light read at all. The last story that I read the past 2 months that I finished is The Ghost of You by Worthless Writer. And let me just tell you before I start saying anything else about this story. First of all, the title of the story is The Ghost of You. I ignored that. Secondly, the warning from the author is major character death. I ignored that too. Third of all, the author put in a ton of text about somebody dying. I ignored that too. Halfway through the story, right, I was like, how on a damn minute, why is all of these foreshadowing put in here? This is the feeling I get from reading the Song of Achilles, right? So these are the Song of Achilles type of foreshadowing. And at that point, I already know that something is wrong. I already know who is who. I already know what's going to happen. So this story gives me the same emotion that the Song of Achilles gave me. So if you fell in love with the Song of Achilles and you are looking for a dramatic version of it, where you get to experience all those pain, like for real, this story is going to be perfect for you. I give the story a 4.5 stars. I took half a star away because of how much pain I was in after I finished reading the story. Who am I to blame but myself? You just have to go ahead and read it. I just love this story. Now that we are through with all the fanfiction that I finished, let's talk about some of my current reads. The first fanfiction that I'm currently reading is Meet Your Match by Morgan Mercy. Now I'm like 75% through with this story, but I will hold off on all the opinions, because whenever I'm sharing a piece of work that I'm reading with you guys on this channel and I spoke highly of it, I end up did not finish the story, so I do not want to jinx anything, okay? So I'm gonna hold off on all the opinions, and you guys may get an update on the next reading wrap, so stay tuned for that. The second thing that I'm reading is this book right here, is The Giver of Star by Jojo Moyes. This is a gift from one of my friends. I would love to finish this book. I'm only like 90 pages in, but I just keep getting distracted by all the dramatic fanfiction, so maybe after I finish Meet Your Match, I will dedicate my full focus for this book, because this is truly something that I wanna finish. And those are the two items that I currently have on my reading list. Now the last part of this video is going to be a story that I did not finish. Before I start this section, I want to let you guys know that this story I did not finish because of my own personal preference, and it's me not you type of situation. Couldn't get into the story, and I just didn't want to keep going with the story that I did not enjoy, and so that's why I DNF this story. But please know that it's not the author's fault. It's not because of the quality or whatsoever. So I don't want to discourage anyone, because you know your fic show up on my did not finished list. And now the first one is Marvin's Amia by Twin Flame Blue. This is actually the first story that I started the year with, and I was so sad that it was DNF. But you know, I'm like 12 chapters through with the story, and I just couldn't continue going because I just don't see myself finishing the story. The second one is Remember Us as War But Call Us Forgiveness. Now this is a marriage law story, so I kind of set a little bit too high expectation for this story, but Draco and Hermione kind of lacked that tension between them. Like there are two civil to each other in this story, and I just feel like I wanted something more. The third story that I did not finish in January is Haunted Hollow, Hawthorne and Curse by Honey Overcast. Now this is one of the stories that I actually was looking forward to read because of how unique the plotline is, but it just feels too dragging for me at some point, and I'm a very, you know, fast-paced girl. And the last story that I did not finish in the last 2 months is Guarding the Dragon by Potion Chemist. protagonist. Now I read this story as part of making that Quidditch player Draco video for you guys, and this story is among the most recommended story when it comes to Draco being a Quidditch player. And I really had high expectations for this story because at the start I had an amazing time with this story, and I just love how Draco and Hermione are portrayed, and I love the dual POV too. But at some point the story would just turn out too crass for me, like the way that Draco and Hermione think about each other and the way that other characters in this story think about Draco and Hermione. It's just everyone is walking around with their unresolved hormones so that they think of everybody in a very sexual way. And that is the end of our video so far, and I know that I'm losing my voice now because this is like the third attempt of me filming this video. I truly did not know how to talk today, you guys, so I had a really bad filming day. I hope that this attempt turned out okay, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!